Hi, this portion of the week is the portion of Toldot, Parashat Toldot. In this portion, the Torah is telling us that Isaac wants to leave the country. Isaac just wants to leave the country. Usually, why do we want to leave the country? Because it doesn't work for us good. It doesn't work for us well. Things are not working well, so I want to leave the country. So this is what you're feeling, is telling you to leave the country. Same with Isaac. At that year, which was a very hard year, Isaac wanted to leave the country because the crops didn't come out of the land. It was a starvation. There was no rain. It was a very dry year. Isaac wanted to leave. Suddenly, the Creator is telling him, don't go anywhere. Self-sacrifice. גור בארץ הזו, ואהיה עמך, ואברכך. Live in this country, and I will be with you, and I'll bless you. Suddenly, there's the will of the one, and there's the will of yourself. In the other portions, and in this project in general, we understand that we're learning the portion of the Torah through Hasidut and Kabbalah. We want to draw insights, vessels to work with them, affirmation to create prosperity and wealth, physical and spiritual, in our life. In this portion of the week, after we learned amazing insights and understandings in the other portions, here Isaac, the son of Abraham, starting to practice those vessels. And the first vessel is self-sacrifice. Let go of your will, what you think, what you feel, and listen to the divine words. Stay in this country. How to stay in this country? It doesn't work well for me, Maybe in a different country I will find prosperity. Most of us, where we want to find prosperity in our life, where we want to succeed, money, money, money. Money, money. It's almost like air that we breathe. We all want to be blessed in wealth and to have lots of money to buy and to give. In this portion of the week, we have the right secret how to draw wealth into our life. By the way, excuse my crooked English, and sometimes I'm being slow, sometimes fast. There's two reasons for it. First, I need to translate deep understandings from the Torah, from a biblical language, into a language that I know. Sometimes, the second reason, I stop because I want you to think over the last verse or topic that I spoke. So, how do we draw wealth, prosperity into our life, money-wise? Let's see and let's observe the coming verse. ויזרע יצחק בארץ ההיא, וימצא בשנה ההיא 100 שערים, ויברכהו השם. I said, and Isaac planted the earth in that year, and he found 100 gates. We'll explain what does mean 100 gates, and God blessed him, meaning Isaac planted and he found. Now, the Lubavitcher Rebbe is asking a question. Why in this verse there's a repetition that Isaac planted the earth, that earth, in that year? ויזרע יצחק בארץ ההיא, in that land, בשנה ההיא, in that year, to tell us that it was a very hard year. It was dry and the earth was cracked. Still, despite that, he doesn't leave the country. He listens to the above, and he's sowing the land. And what he found? 100 gates, meaning the crops doubled itself. And it says that there's two translations to that by Rashi. The first translation is that Isaac planted the earth, and then he found 100 gates, meaning 100 times double the crops that he was supposed to receive out of the land. The second translation is that he received the crops after he planted the earth, and then he gathered all the crops, he looked at it and he said, okay, I received all that, now I need to give back. I need to give. Meaning I need to give maaser. What is a maaser? 10% out of the crops, out of what we're doing in our life, it's to give. To give to the one. What does it mean to give to the one? I don't see him. When you mean you give back to creation, you give to places of need. When Isaac gathered the crops and he had this thought to give 10% to the Creator, then suddenly an amazing miracle happened. The crops doubled itself in 100 times more. And that's why the Torah is telling us, even though in the other translation, the second translation, there was an amazing miracle that happened above nature, but it explains how come Isaac became very rich. The Torah is saying that he had lots of cattle and lots of work, to the extent that all his surroundings, the people that was around him and the nation, envied him. And he became a very rich person. If it was according to the first translation, meaning I saw the land and then I received the crops and there was plenty, 100 times more, well, that's nice, that's wow, but it's not enough to make Isaac so rich to the extent that he had so many cattle, sheep, like cows, etc. And lots of work, meaning he had lots of projects. And people envied him, to the extent that people really envied him. That's why the Torah is mentioning the second translation. Rashi bringing the second translation. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe is saying, that's why our sages are mentioning that Isaac looked at all that he gathered, all that came out of his plantation and hard work. And out of his hard work, he was willing to give. Not just to receive, but also to be a giver. And that's the reason, and that's the secret. We call it in Hebrew sgula. I don't know exactly how to say sgula in English, but we call it sgula, meaning there's a deep secret hiding within our scriptures that will show you how to draw prosperity into your life by you becoming a giver. And it's not simple, because the tendency of the soul here on earth is always to look around and in a way to find out how can I receive more to myself. This is the evil inclination, meaning this is the animalistic soul that is a constant need of having to itself. When you're learning to be like the Creator, to give, because He owes everything. He created nature. He created all that within nature, even diamonds and gold. You give, you make a strong effort to give back. That's the reason why he became so rich. When we taming ourselves to see, to observe, to get into a deep observation, see that you have, you receive that. Are you willing to give? When you're doing this work, you've been promised to be blessed, and all that you have that will be blessed much more than what you have. 10 times, 100 times? Well, it depends on the creator and the journey. Well, we don't look only to gain prosperity only on a physical realm, as far as money, our economic situation. We want as well prosperity in the spiritual realm, to see growth, to grow out of our nature, to come out of our ego. And this secret as well is being planted in this portion of the week by looking at this whole idea, the hard work of Isaac with the wells. He didn't just planted the earth, he as well digged well. And it's mentioned that there were 3 wells, one called Esek, one called Sitna, and the third one called Rehovot. Those 3 wells symbolizing the 3 temples. And there's a question that the Lubavitcher Rebbe brings up. Why only in the portion of Isaac the 3 temples are being mentioned to a certain extent? And with the explanation about the well and each well, the understanding of its name, Esek meaning Isaac dealt a lots of friction in order to dig this well. Sitna as well, there was lots of friction with his surroundings to do this well, and it being like shut down by the Plishtim. Only when he reached the third one, Rehovot, then there was no problem with it. Why only in the portion? Why only in the portion of in the time of Isaac? Those 3 temples are being mentioned to a certain extent more than in the times of Abraham and Jacob. It's been mentioned in a clue, but not to the extent like with Isaac. Let's see. Those 3 wells, the Lubavitcher Rebbe is taking those wells and is taking us into a journey and telling us, let's observe the difference between a well and a spring. What's the difference? Well is man-made and spring is nature-made. But still, when you're digging a well, you're doing a certain effort, but you're not creating the water, and you do not bring the water from some place to the well. What are you doing? You do digging, you're making a strong effort, you're doing lots of work, and then you reveal the water that was hiding, like they were being like covered with earth in the ground, and you just reveal it, and you allowing those water that was within the earth to burst out. This is as well, that's why it's being symbolized and to the temple. Why? Because the main thing of the temple is to tell us that there is holiness and divine in it, to bring holiness and divine to it. Like it says, "V'asu li migdash v'shachanti betocham." Make me a temple and I'll be in it. But it says betocham, in them. What does it mean, in them? Today we don't have a temple, but each and every one of us creating his temple within. So we are really building the temple in our own hands, but what it's not up to us, the holiness and the divine that will be in it. We are only making the vessels and the circumstances, the conditions for the holiness and to divine to be in us, or to be in the temple. Same with the well. We digged it, we made an effort, and then we revealed the water. That's why it's being mentioned only with Isaac, the 3 temples. Why? Because Isaac is symbolizing self-work, self-refining. Self-refinement, meaning doing a certain refinement with yourself, meaning doing self work. Do work with yourself, mate. Do this work, it's calling avodat tzmid in Hebrew, or avodat Hashem, to work on your midot. Isaac is symbolizing the self-work, self-refinement, like refining yourself slowly in the journey. Abraham is the midah of grace, giving, which is coming from above. He's been blessed to be a person to give. It was his nature. Jacob, symbolizing learning the Torah. The Torah as well came from above. Only Isaac is symbolizing the self-work. That's why in future to come we're going to be called the sons of Isaac. What does it mean, self-work? Self-work is to train ourselves to be givers. When you have, give. And sometimes our ego really deceiving us. Because it's very funny. We can give sometimes to friends, to ones that we know, but suddenly when it's coming down to our family, it will be hard to give them. You know, the Torah is mentioning that starts with your family. Start with the one that's close to you, then to others. It's a very hard work. But when you're doing this work, it's guaranteed that you've been blessed to have this prosperity, spiritual prosperity. Yet the Lubavitcher Rebbe is asking, wait, the third temple is going to come from above, so why are you relating it to self-work, to Isaac? The truth is, the Rebbe is saying, that because we finding ourselves in such a long exile from the last temple, the second temple, the third one that's going to come is going to come with no friction. It's going to be built due to our self-work. The first temple being built 480 years ago after the Exodus from Egypt. The Exodus happened about 2,450 years. 480 years later, we have the first temple. Then it's being demolished, 70 years of exile, and then the second temple for 410 years. And yet, the third one didn't come. Well, the third one is going to come after a long exile, due to our self-work, slowly, another good thought, a good deed, a good speak, doing the mitzvot, the Torah to the extent that is possible, we will build the third temple. Well, may we all be blessed in prosperity, in the physical realm, money-wise, and most important, in the spiritual. Because when you're training yourself, Vayizra Yitzchak ba'aretz ha'i vayimtza, and Isaac planted, and he found. Vayizra vayimtza. Planted, work hard, so you will find. All the best. See you in the next portion.